Millions of people in Sierra Leone head to the polls on Saturday to select a new president in general elections. This comes in the midst of an economic crisis there, with rampant inflation and rising unemployment and the currency plummeting in value. CNN's Stephanie Basari joins us live from Lagos, Nigeria. Stephanie, what's at stake for the people there?
Christine, very high stakes election, very crucial ones on Saturday for the people of Sierra Leone. And this is actually the fifth presidential election since the civil war ended 21 years ago. And inflation is sky high, 37% in April, according to the IMF. And security is tense in the capital, Freetown, with one person describing it as preparing for war. We've been speaking to people in Freetown. Take a listen to what they had to say.
These Sierra Leoneans are calling out for change as the West African state heads to the polls to elect a new president on June 24. Among the issues citizens are battling are soaring cost of living and massive unemployment, with inflation sitting at around 37% in April, according to the IMF.
The country is just so tight, and we are not seeing any prospects that these things are coming down because the dollar inflation is very high. Everything is very high.
Around 3.3 million, less than half the population, are registered to vote in this, the fifth election since the end of the country's brutal, decade-long civil war 21 years ago. Anger at the current state of the country spilling over in August last year, with more than 20 people killed in anti-government protests across Sierra Leone. Incumbent President Julius Maada Bio's view of those protests.
This was not a protest against the high cost of living. The chant of the insurrectionists was for a violent overthrow of the democratically elected government.
Former Sierra Leonean child soldier turned author and human rights activist Ishmael Bia says the mood in the country is not hopeful.
Even as we lead towards election, the security situation has gotten tense in the way that you have more presence of armed police, armed military that are basically patrolling the streets as if going to an election is also going to war.
Amongst the 12 candidates challenging Maada Bio in the general election is the leader of the opposition All People's Congress Party, Samora Kamara.
I want to call all Salone to come out and vote on the 24th. Come rain, come sunshine, come use a barrage of bullets, or come anything else, and to protect their votes.
The 72-year-old former cabinet minister is facing trial on corruption charges, which he denies. If convicted, Kamara would be barred from holding public office. He appeared before court in April, but the case has been adjourned until after the general election. 59-year-old Maada Bio, seen here dancing in the rain on the campaign trail, has promised, if re-elected, to feed the nation and create 500,000 jobs for young people in 5 years. For the people of a country that has faced so much tragedy, its future is by no means decided.
Christine, the people of Sierra Leone are very resilient. They've had to bounce back from so much tragedy. I was in Sierra Leone myself in 2017 after the devastating mudslides that killed so many people. And there are people asking there, why always us? There's really a sense that people are desperate for stability. And this is a country that has abundant diamond resources. You'll remember the movie Blood Diamonds was based on Sierra Leone. So they want some of those resources to trickle back to them, to have hope and aspirations for their future. And really, these are the stakes that are very high in these elections, Christine.
Yeah, they head to the polls on Saturday. Stephanie, thank you so much for that. Quick hits.